Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I am going to be showing you how to make stacked pants. Right now I am just showing you guys how much fabric it is, how big and wide this fabric is. It is a lot of fabric, and this much of fabric can do just about any project that you need. So I am going to be showing you guys, this is 2 yards of fabric for $2 from Walmart. So this is perfect if you're a beginner. You're allowed to make mistakes, and it does just about any project that you need. So what you want to do is get your favorite pair of pants that fit you very nicely, very well, has a little stretch to it because this is the type of fabric that I have as well, and you are going to place it directly on top of the fabric. Right now I am just sketching out how long I would like the pants to be. This is going to be two separate pieces that you need to do. For the first piece, I am going to be cutting out the pants. So I am just seeing how long I want the pants to be before I add the stacked onto it. As you can see, I am diving right in with the scissors, but if you are a beginner or more OCD, you can always get a ruler and just outline the pants before you cut it. This is very important, guys. You always want to cut seam allowance, and what that is when you are cutting your fabric, make sure you cut it about 1.5 to 2 inches away from the pants, so that way when you are sewing it, when you're done, the pants won't be too small for you. So again, about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches away from the pants. So right now I'm grabbing my ruler just to make sure that both sides of the pants are aligned with each other and the same size and the same length. So if you take your pants off and you see that the fabric is not 100% straight, it's fine. You can eyeball it, cut it how you want, but you will see later on in the video that if the bottom of the pants are not completely straight, it's fine. You don't have to just be so crazy about how straight lines should be as far as really the top or the bottom. But I am just using my ruler to kind of just make sure things are straight. But again, if it's not, it is fine. If you don't have a ruler, eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, right now I am just going over the whole process in my head because that is how I do it. I'm just making sure that I understand everything that I am going to do and have done already. So you want to cut out 4 of these pieces to create a pants. So take the piece that you just cut, place it on top of the untouched fabric, and just go right around it. Just cut the exact same piece out, and this will be your back piece. So those two together will make the back of the pants. So right now I'm going to show you how to create the front pieces. What you want to do is take the piece that you just cut out and flip it over. You need 2 of the same pieces, and then the other 2 needs to be mirrored to the first 2 that you cut. As you can see in the cutout and the pants that I have in my hand, they are mirrored towards each other. That is very important. So take that fabric that you just cut, turn it over, and then cut out 2 more pieces. That will create the front and the back pieces, 4 pieces that will create your pants. Very simple, but you just have to remember to do it and just pay attention to what I am doing, and everything will just go very smooth. So remember I said seam allowance? When you are tracing over, you don't have to use seam allowance because the original piece is already prepared for that. So just go as close to cutout, as close to the original cutout as possible. It doesn't need seam allowance. So again, you're going to need 2 identical pieces and then 2 more mirrored identical pieces, and that will be your 4 pieces to create your pants. So once you have your 4 pieces, you are going to take any one of the 4 pieces that you created and put it on top of untouched fabric, because we are going to cut out the stacked portion of the pants. So what you see me do is I'm going to take the bottom part of the pants, the very bottom of the leg, and I'm going to go up about 2 to 3 inches above that, and I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to begin to cut out into a triangle shape. And so I didn't put this on camera, but what I did was took my pants, put the pants leg against me, and took my ruler against the rest of my leg so I can see just about how long I want the stacked part of the pants to be, because you don't want these to be floods. It's better to make them much longer as possible, because you can always take away, but you can add as well, but you want these stacked pants to be very long. So as you can see, again, I went about 2 inches above the pants. I cut, and then I began to go out into a triangle. And so now I am just hemming it and seeing how I want things, taking off the extra pieces just to create kind of a more of a triangle effect. Also, you don't know how much fabric that you are going to have left, so you don't want to make things too big, so that you can, because you need 4 pieces. These pieces can be completely identical. Nothing needs to be mirrored. So once you cut this piece out, just cut 3 more. And look, guys, you can see that the top looks like the original pants, and it flows out into kind of a triangle. That's how you want it to look. And so you cut that out 3 more times. And if you come to realize that you don't have enough fabric, it's fine. What you can do is just make the original piece smaller and then cut those pieces out small as well. Okay, so now we are going to start stitching the pants together. So you can see I am just stitching the top curved part of the pants just along there. That's the only thing you want to start stitching for right now. When you are using a sewing machine, make sure that you back stitch at the very beginning, because you don't want your pants to come undone. Always be sure to back stitch. And another thing is, when you are using stretchy fabric, the best thing you should put your sewing machine on, you should do zigzag stitching, because if you do straight stitching on stretchy pants, it almost takes away the whole stretchiness of the pants. You need something zigzags will stretch as well. So it's best to use zigzag stitching when you are stitching with stretchy fabric. You don't have to, it's just kind of better to use zigzag stitching. So you're going to do that. Just cut that piece for both pieces, and you see it's created the back piece of the pants. So you're going to do that for the other two pieces as well. And this is when you start to kind of get excited about your project, because you can almost see it coming together. It's not just pieces cut out. You can kind of see where you're going with this and kind of get excited to actually wear this. As you can see here, I am just making sure everything is straight and aligned. So when I am stitching, because I am not using pins, I have pins, but I am not using them. So I went ahead and stitched the other piece. So now we have a front piece and a back piece to my pants. So now you are just going to sew the sides of the pants together. One thing I need to mention on this is whichever side you want to be the outside, you need to have those kissing and stitch the pieces together so that when you fold them right side in, the stitches will not be showing. And if you're confused about that, just make sure that when you're sewing, you see on the original part that we sewed, you can see the stitching part. If you don't, then you have it on the wrong side. And be careful when you are stitching, because I'm not using pins, and if you don't use pins, the fabric could start to move. So you want to just go slow, take your time, hold the fabric together as you go, or you could just use pins and it will go by quickly. For me, I just don't use pins, and it works in my favor sometimes it doesn't. You're going to mess up sometimes, and it's fine. So that's why I have the $2 fabric from Walmart, because it gives me the opportunity to kind of play with things and test things out without feeling bad if it doesn't work out, because I just spent $2 on it. Again, guys, remember to backstitch at the beginning and the end of the pants so that they won't begin to unravel over time. Okay, so I have sewed both sides of the pants together, and these are now inside out. That's how you should have sewed them. Now you see I'm turning them back to the original way that I want to wear them, and I just try them on just to make sure they fit pretty well. But of course the top is too big for me, so what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to create an elastic band around the top to make the top of the pants fit right. So what we are going to do is fold the pants over and sew them all the way around, but we're going to leave about 2 inches of not sewing it so that we can place the elastic through it. So I went ahead and sewed the pants, and I'm showing you how I sewed it completely all around a 360 circle, except for the 2-inch space that I left open so that I can put the elastic bands through the pants. So what you want to do is take some elastic, and you are going to wrap it around your waist. I like for my pants to be pretty tight, kind of around my waist. So since elastic is stretchy, there's no need to do your whole body. I like to just stop where my sides stop it. You can see this is much elastic as I'm going to, because it's going to stretch anyway, and that's where I'm just going to cut it at. but it's up to you about how much elastic you want to use. You're going to just cut it right there. And then what you're going to do next is take safety pin and hook the safety pin through to the elastic so that you can go through the pants. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Now you take the pants and go through the open area. Another thing you can do is take the opposite end that is not pinned to the safety pin and pin it to the other opening so that the elastic won't get lost inside the pants. I didn't do it because sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I just figured I would have enough space to where it won't get lost, and I was just being careful. So you just want to flow the safety pin through the pants until you reach the other side. When you guys do this, put in the comment section, is it me or is this part just so satisfying? It's just something about putting this elastic through there and seeing those ruffles being created. It's just a satisfying thing to me. But I don't know, it might just be me. Okay, so once you pull the safety pin through, what you are going to do now is pull the elastic as much as possible. Not as much as possible. You just want to make sure that you have enough elastic out so that you can do this to it and sew it together. It doesn't matter if you use zigzag or straight stitching for the elastic part. Just make sure that you go back and forth a couple of times to make sure that it's really bonded together. So I use straight stitching, but what I did again is I sewed back and forth about 3 or 4 times to make sure that that elastic wasn't going anywhere as I put my pants on and off. So once you sew the elastic together, you are just going to close up the other piece of the pants that you left open to pull the elastic through. Sew that 2 inches down and the top of your pants are done. And when you are sewing that 2 inches back together, go back and forth a couple of times, back stitch so that again it won't unravel. Whenever you are stitching, make sure that you back stitch at the beginning and the end so that your project doesn't unravel over time. I know I've said that a couple of times, but I just feel like I should express that a lot because you don't want to do all of this. And if you're selling things to people, you don't want their project or their outfit to unravel. It's just not a good look. But if you are hand stitching, you can always just tie a knot. Or if you forget to back sew when you are stitching with the machine, you could just take your hand and tie a knot in it. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the elastic on. It is going to fit over my waist now. So the pants are completely done. I'm going to try them on now, again, just to make sure they fit me well. Okay, so we are moving on to the stacked part, and what you want to do, as I showed you, just sew the end pieces together, the side pieces together, like that. You just sew the sides together just like you did with the pants, except you want to loose sew them so that you can pull the fabric. And what do I mean when I say loose sew? If you have a sewing machine, it has a number right above where the needle is, and you want to turn that towards the left and straight stitch it. It will create a loose stitching so that the leftover stitching, you can pull one of the strings to create that stacked effect. And you want to do that to both of the pieces. So again, what I'm doing now is I'm taking one of the excess strings and I'm just pulling it to create that ruffle stack effect. And I'm going to do that to both sides of both of the pieces. See, just tug it, not hard because the stitching will break. Take your time, and you can push the stitching up towards the beginning to kind of get the whole pant, or the whole piece stacked. It's fairly simple to make these pants. You just gotta make sure you move slow and take everything step by step. The thing to remember is to make sure you loose stitch. That if you're hand stitching, same thing. Don't stitch closely, kind of loosely stitch it, separate it, because you want to be able to tug on that string. If it's not loose, it won't be able to tug. It will just break. The string will just break. So you want to turn that knob right above the needle to the left, and also put it, adjust the stitching levels to a straight loose stitch, one that's kind of separated, and that's how you will achieve this piece. So then once you feel like it's ruffled enough, you're going to tie both of those pieces together for about 4 or 5 times, just to make sure that nothing unravels, because we can't back stitch with the loose stitching, or else you won't be able to pull it together. So take those pieces of stitching after you've created the ruffle effect and tie it together about 4 or 5 times. And we are going to do that for both sides, for both pieces. Okay, now I'm going to be showing you both of the pieces that I created the stacked or ruffled effect to. And now I'm going to show you how to sew those to the pants. So what you are going to do, you are going to take the ruffle piece and the pants. So you're going to take the ruffle piece, and I'm just going to show you exactly what to do. Put them on your hands like this, and you grab the pants, and you're going to flip the ruffle pants over like I just did. Pay attention to that, guys, because it's very important, because now you want to sew the 2 end pieces together. But make sure that you flip that piece over it, so that when you sew it across and pull it, it will look seamless. As you stitch, stretch it, if you can. Try to stretch it at the same time that you're stitching, just in case the 2 pieces are not exactly identical. When you stretch it, it creates it to be identical. So as you sew it, stretch the excess and go all around to a 360 stitch. Reset your sewing machine to not loose stitching anymore. Go back to the original stitching that you were doing. because we don't want these pieces to be loose. Don't forget to put your sewing machine back to its original form, because then your stitching will come apart. So as you can see, as I'm sewing, I am also stretching the fabric at the same time. And we're going to sew that all the way around. And we're going to do that with both pants legs. You want to make sure that the two end pieces are completely aligned, so that one pants leg won't be shorter than the other. Everything needs to be the same length for both pants legs. And this is the very last step. After this, your pants are pretty much complete. What you want to do is just try them on, look at them, make sure that everything is stitched, there's no holes, you didn't miss anything, and your pants will be completely done once you sew those stacked pieces to both of your pants legs. This project was fairly simple, fairly easy. If you just follow what I did step by step, it will be easy for you as well. So please, guys, just follow what I said step by step. If you kind of have your own method, or you see somebody else do something in another video, that's fine. But if you are a beginner, then this is probably the easiest way to go about it, just to make sure that you will be able to wear your own project. So you see how it looks when you fold it over and then you flip it back. It's seamless. Okay, so here are the pants. They are done. We are done. This is what they look like. They are perfect. They are so pretty. I love them. I will be wearing. Here's what it looked like. I'm going to back all the way up so you can see the legs. I hope you can see them. I'm going to stand in this chair. So this is what the legs look like. And I didn't record this shirt